There are so many things happening in the world today that people, as I've said before, quietly reflect a sense of hopelessness. Lynette has written to me today, amongst many others, saying, Alan, I've lost hope for the future of the world. Children are lied to and brainwashed from preschool. Their parents have been convinced that we have to save the planet for their children at any cost. She says, I've listened to you and many highly qualified scientists and politicians speak for many years. My children, who are highly educated and were once conservative, look at me as if I'm crazy when I try to tell them what is going on in the world. She says, I cannot see any comeback from here. Is there anyone who can stand up and tell the truth? As you know, it's illegal to tell the truth. Where will a saviour come from, or are we gone? Well, Lynette, this is the station of the truth. More of that in a moment. But I offer Lynette's message by way of introduction to the flood crisis. That might seem strange, but stay with me. As I speak to you, there are hundreds of thousands of Australians living a life of uncertainty as floods tackle a new geographical area of Australia. What was once Gympie in Queensland, and then areas of Brisbane and the Gold Coast, and then the horrific experiences at Lismore, all, I might add, forgotten by politicians. Well, now there are great swathes of regional New South Wales, Victoria, and even Tasmania under attack. People are living in fear of what tomorrow might bring. There is a warning today that thunderstorms and up to 100 millimetres of rain could hit communities already impacted by floods in southern and western New South Wales. Of course, you must not drive through floodwaters. Don't. But many rescues have already been made of people who thought their car could make it. What's worse, strong winds are being forecast that could bring down trees and impact homes in flood zones. In Victoria, the rain, which battered the state last week and into the weekend, has continued despite some clear skies in recent days. Yesterday, Victoria took stock of the damage already caused, and the warnings were stark. This is going to take a lot of weeks. And as Premier Daniel Andrews has said, this is far from over. The freight industry is warning that there might be delays in moving goods around the country due to the flooding and the closure of many roads in New South Wales and Victoria. 150 kilometres of the Sturt Highway between Sydney and Adelaide is closed due to flooding of the Murrumbidgee River in the Riverina. A section of the Newell Highway, which runs from the Queensland border to the Murray River, is also closed. The freight task in Australia at the moment is very difficult. At Narrandera, at the junction of the Sturt and Newell highways, access in three directions has been cut off by days of flooding. The focus, though, is on the beautiful and historic Echuca, on the banks of the Murray River and the Campaspe River in Victoria. The border town of Moama is adjacent on the northern side of the Murray River. That puts it in New South Wales. Ironically, Echuca lies within Yorta Yorta country, and Yorta Yorta means meeting of the waters. Well, that's happened. Echuca is one of the most beautiful places I've ever visited. In the 1870s, it was Australia's largest inland port, the point of shortest distance between the Murray River and the major city of Melbourne. The steam-driven paddle boats would arrive at the 332-metre-long Red Gum Echuca Wharf, and they're still there today, the paddle boats, for tourism. But Echuca is being smashed. And extraordinary efforts are being made to save up to 2,000 houses from the second and most dangerous wave of floodwater to hit this beautiful Murray River tourist destination. Echuca's Martin Street has been transformed from a cul-de-sac where you could walk onto farmland into a swamp. Properties close to the river show watermarks of up to 1 metre on their walls. But people young and old have come from everywhere. Volunteers building a 2.5 metre high, 2.5 kilometre long levee with dirt and sandbags, all trying to save Echuca. So far, 300 people have fled the town. Another 3,000 are on standby to leave, but dozens of volunteers, look at them shoveling sand into makeshift sacks. Children, retirees, teenagers preparing to sit end-of-year exams, they're all there. Our thoughts are with them. Which brings me back to my opening comment and the email from Lynette about children being lied to and brainwashed, because this is a golden opportunity now to belt the climate change drum and push the net zero carbon dioxide narrative. Though, as Professor Ian Plimer has told us on this program, no one has ever proven that human emissions of carbon dioxide drive global warming. But here's the rub, and the reason why people like Lynette are worried about the brainwashing of their kids claiming that we have destroyed the planet. The truth is, there is nothing unusual about today's floods, bushfires or droughts. Written flood records go back to biblical times. Geological records go back for epochs. Population growth means more people are affected by weather extremes, but there is no evidence that floods and droughts are getting worse. El Nino droughts have been recognised as far back as 1525. But on the flood front, in 1852, the flood in the Murrumbidgee River swept away the entire town of Gundagai. 1852. In the 1893 La Nina, the Bremer River, Ipswich is on the Bremer River in Queensland, the flood destroyed the entire Victoria Bridge and the Indooroopilly Bridge in Brisbane. In 1916, in Clermont, nearly 1,000 kilometres northwest of Brisbane, 60 people were killed when a flash flood destroyed the whole township. 1916. 2022 is another La Nina year. We're entitled to expect big floods. And dare I say it, as one who's advocated for years and years the harvesting of water, the best practical way to cope with future floods and droughts is to build more dams and raise dam walls. But Australia hasn't done it and isn't doing it. And now the ALP Green government is ensuring even worse outcomes by damaging food and electricity production with net zero nonsense. So yes, Lynette, you'll get the truth on this program. Remember, we've wasted billions of dollars on Flannery desalination plants because Flannery said it wouldn't rain again. Sensible governments would build more dams to moderate the La Nina floods and provide insurance against the inevitable El Nino droughts. Future generations won't forgive our ideological obsessions, but in government today, common sense is replaced by nonsense.